This is me, Mikelis, and my girlfriend, Alexandra. This is also me, and we are not happy how our trip is going. But we had a plan. Let me tell you how we got there. We come from a country, Latvia, Riga. And first we had a flight to Turkey, Istanbul. And from there we had a long flight to Vietnam, Saigon. Vietnam is a country that is 1,600 kilometers long. Our initial plan was to go from Saigon to the Hanoi and then explore the rest of the north. But the plans changed almost immediately as soon as we landed. I read about the floods in the central Vietnam. There were new warnings of another hurricane possibly coming to the central regions. The warning said for the tourists to stay away from that area. We changed our plans and we decided, okay, let's spend some days, go south to the Phu Quoc and also check out the Mekong River Delta area. But let me show you the first days in Saigon. Quite quickly it became apparent that you do not walk in this city. You either use a scooter or a car. We also managed to get scammed. So Alexandra fixed her shoes for a price that it was way more than those guys probably earn usually. We checked out the nightlife. There's a backpacker street with the bars where some girls are dancing and also boys are dancing. After the first 2 days we rented the bike to try it out in the city. We were actually quite surprised how easily it felt to adjust to the chaotic traffic of the city. During traffic jam hours, the locals drive on the sidewalks, so we tried it as well. It was nice to see that the people, although busy, they seemed to be content and you could often see them smiling. And while the streets were very loud, we could always find quiet, small side streets where locals seemed to live and enjoy the quiet time. Next day we were leaving for Phu Quoc. In the beginning the roads were nice. Only a few kilometers outside of the city, we understood why there were warnings not to use some of the roads. In the city, scooter felt like just another transport vehicle. But as soon as you leave the city, suddenly the only thing that matters is the size of your vehicle and how loud is your horn. The roads were packed with the big, loud trucks and intercity buses. And those buses seemed like they're always late to something, they're always rushing. That was the first of the many lessons that we should try to stick to roads which were provided by Tidjit, the company where we rented our bikes, and not to use the fastest roads provided by Google Maps. After spending an hour in the hot sun and terrible traffic, we decided to take next leap of faith and stopped for food at the roadside vendor. Looking back, it's a bit funny, but at the moment we used a lot of disinfecting on everything, the hands, the tools. Still, even then it felt like a gamble. We were not sure if our stomachs will be ready or we will spend the evening sitting on the toilet. It didn't help that the roads in the region with the less tourists seemed also to be less upkept. The speed we were traveling was really slow.
How much more?
At some point, Alexandra got sick of riding behind some slow trucks. When we couldn't overtake it on the left side because of the incoming traffic, she decided to overtake it on the right side. Around the time when the sun was setting, the roads finally became better, and so did the views. After spending some 6 hours driving, we had the next surprise. As we turned in for the first night on the road, just few houses from the loud main streets, this building suddenly became like something you would see in Venice, and the streets were very empty. So this was our first, but not the last, meeting with the Wind Group company. It's a company started in 90s in Ukraine by selling noodles. Nowadays it has become conglomerates of real estate, retail and cars. You could see a lot of locally made fast cars all around Vietnam. The next day felt tired. Alexandra had runny nose from the flights. We started the day quite late, around 11 in the morning. At some point there were the highways and you could try the max speed of the scooter, which is around 70 kilometers per hour. In the flight from Turkey, they took away my multi-tool, so I had no way to fix anything. Also, we had no knife, so we couldn't cut any fruit. They were very helpful, but the day was getting late, and we decided that it's better to keep driving for now. I'll look for it later. We had been riding non-stop for a while, so we wanted to make a stop. There were these rock formations, and they were just popping out of the rice fields. It looked like some kind of machine gun bunkers from the war, so I wanted to check them out. Continuing along the road, for most of the part, you rarely see the rice fields. It is because in Vietnam, every family tries to have a house next to the road, because the house will also be their family business. So even outside of the cities, all along the roads, you have something built. There are shacks for drinks, for food, and even for organizing marriages. The last leg of the journey was taking us along the Cambodian border. Checking out the satellite images, I noticed how greener the Vietnam looks compared to Cambodia. And the internet said me that it's because Vietnam has a lot more developed irrigation system. But looking at these older satellite images, it seems like even before most of the farms were built, the Vietnam side was greener, probably because of the natural river providing more water. So we kept riding. It was a beautiful sunset. I think it actually was one of the best of the whole trip. The problem was that although you could see in Google Maps that you only have to ride like 20 kilometers, which seems like nothing if you ride here in Europe, but in the dark it's very hard to see the potholes. So we were forced to drive very slowly with very limited visibility. And the scooters don't have the very bright lights. So when the car was passing by from behind you, it suddenly became bright like a day in comparison. For a while, actually, there was a big truck. The red tailgates actually were brighter, I think, than my front light. And I was trying to follow it because the tailgates illuminated the potholes better than my front light. But yeah, I couldn't keep up with it. Then finally reached the shore. Finally, around 7 p.m. we reached Hat Yai. We had managed to drive around 175 or something kilometers, and it had taken us all the 6 hours. It's quite common in Vietnam to park the motorcycles inside the lobby of hotels, or if they have the underground parking, then you park there, of course. But leaving on the street is very uncommon. The rest of the evening was spent trying to find a way how to book a boat across the Phu Quoc, because there were many options, but to cross it and have scooters with you couldn't find any. So we were tired, we were stressed, and we were not happy at our trip of Vietnam at all at that moment. Stay tuned for a trip to Phu Quoc, me getting ill, and us looking for ways how to make this trip more enjoyable in the next video.